So today we're going to talk about simplifying and solving notes. There's a lot of questions on your test that ask you to simplify or solve. And there's a couple different things that you could possibly have to do with this. So for basic notes that we're going to take here, simplifying, depending on what it is, there's three different things that we're going to see here. One is you might have to do, I'll break it up into three things here. One, you might have to do FOIL or double distribution, depending on what it says, which we will go over here in a second. Okay, that's if it's going to be in a quadratic. If it's linear, you might just have to distribute and then combine like terms. That's possible. Or you might have function notation. Function notation. If you remember with that, if it's like f of x, that whole thing means y, and then the inside number is x. So if I have f of 6, that means x is 6. Okay? Or if I have f of x equals 3, that means that y equals 3. So it just kind of depends there. So let's go through some of these problems. One says a rectangle has a length of 2x plus 1 and a width of 5x minus 4. Which expression best describes the area of the rectangle? Well, area is length times width. So I need to multiply these two things together. So we have 2x plus 1, and we have 5x minus 4. Okay? So we can just double distribute. So 2x times 5, that's 10x squared. 2x times negative 4 is negative 8x. And then we distribute 1 times 5 is plus 5x. And then 1 times negative 4 is negative 4. And then I just combine these like terms here, negative 8x plus 5x. So 10x squared. Negative 8 plus 5 in your head or in the calculator would be a negative 3x. And then minus 4. And that's my answer. So obviously my correct answer is going to be H. It's going to be H. F is if you just added these two things together, which would be wrong. G is actually the perimeter. So if it asked for perimeter, G would be a good answer. But H right here, that would be the area. Now let's say you could get this far, but you couldn't, you're like messing it up on the FOIL double distribution. You can actually put this in the calculator and this in the calculator, and if they're the same, they'll match. So let me show you what I mean by that. You can go to your calculator and go to y equals, and you could type those in. So parentheses, it was 2x plus 1. And then on the other side, it was 5x minus 4. Okay? And then our answer choice was 10x squared minus 3x minus 4. And if you go to the table, you can tell that's correct because my y1 and my y2 are the same. Those things are equal. So when you have simplifying ones like that, you can just do that and make sure they match. If I picked a different option, so for example, option J was 10x squared plus 13x. So if I change this to plus 13x minus 4, and I go to the table, these values don't match, so I can tell that's wrong. So you can do it by hand and simplifying, or if you can't figure that out, you can also do it in the calculator. Okay, so the next one was just simplify this expression right here. So I'm just going to distribute and combine like terms. So negative 7 times x is negative 7x. Negative 7 times 2 is a positive 14. I'm going to distribute my 5. 5 times 3 is 15. 5 times, this is basically negative 1, will be negative 5x. And then minus 4x. So I just distributed all that stuff. And then we just combine all the like terms. So negative 7 minus 5 minus 4. You can do that in your head or in the calculator, but that's negative 16x. So automatically I can cross off H and J. And then I combine 14 plus 15, and that's positive 29. So I can go ahead and do that as well. My correct answer is G. You could also, if you put this in the calculator in y equals, this works since, if it was two different letters like x and y, you couldn't. But if it's just x, you can put that in the calculators in y equals and put this into y equals as well, and the correct answer would match. So that's another way you could do those problems. This third one, very simple. Given the function f of x equals 3x squared minus 7, what is the value of f of negative 3? Well, remember, this is the x value on the inside. So two ways you can do this. You can just plug this in here. So 3 times negative 3 squared minus 7. And put that in your calculator. So calculator, go to my main screen here. You could do 3 times negative 3 squared minus 7. And hit enter. And my correct answer is 20, which that's the right answer. It's 20. However, you could also go to y equals. Let me clear out all these guys here. And you could type in your equation, which is 3x squared minus 7. Like that. And go to the table. And go up to negative 3. And your answer would be 20 as well. Oops, sorry. Your answer right there is 20. So either way you do it, it works. But your answer is 20, which is D. Okay? It's perfect. All right, simplifying. You're going to have several questions like that on your test. Now solving. There's several different types of solving that you can have here. Basically, remember, if you can, you need to write the equation first if you need to. That's step 1. Step 2 is, if possible, you need to distribute. Step 3 is combine like terms if you can. Combine like terms. Step 4 is you get your variables to one side. And then last 5 is you isolate your variable, or basically just solve it from there. So, all of these release questions here, I need to solve this equation. Step 1 is write it. Well, it's already written, that's fine. Step 2 is to distribute. There's no distribution here. Step 3 is to combine like terms. Well, I can do that on this side because I have 2a and 7a. So I'm going to combine them. Or sorry, 2a and 5a, which will give me 7a. And then minus 6 equals. I can't combine any of this stuff, so 3a plus 10. That's good. Variables to one side. So I need to get my variables together. I'm going to go ahead and bring this guy over here. So I'm going to subtract 3a. And 7a minus 3a is 4a. Minus 6 equals 10. And then we just solve that. So I'm going to have to come down here for a second. We add 6. You get 4a equals 16. You divide by 4. 16 divided by 4 is 4. So a equals 4. Another way that you could do that exact same problem is, I'm going to erase this so we can actually see. If you wanted to, and if you remember from our systems, finding where lines crossed, you could put that into y1, you could put that into y2, and find where those two lines cross. Second trace 5, enter, 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 and it would also give you a equals 4. So it just kind of depends on which method you want to use. Alright, on this one, AutoCheck Motors charged Mr. Jones $84 for an automotive part, plus $68 an hour. So $84 for a part, plus $68 an hour that the mechanic worked. The total charge, so total, equals $353. For about how long did the mechanic work to install that part? So I wrote my equation, step 1. Step 2, distribute, no. Step 3, combine like terms, no. Step 4, variables on both sides, no. There's only one h there, so I just got to solve this. So I'm going to subtract 84 here. That goes away. And 68h equals, you do 353 minus 84 in your calculator. I'm going to do it in mine because it's going to take a while to do. 269. And then you divide by 68. So 289 divided by 68 would give you, it gives you about 3.9 in your calculator. So it's asking for about how long? Well, that's going to take you about 4 hours to do. Okay, so writing and solving. One more on that little section real quick. If x comma negative 4 is a solution to the equation, what is the value of x? You'll see some like this too, and the easiest way to get through them is this is x, so this is y, right? So I'm just going to replace y with negative 4. So 4x minus 5 times negative 4 equals 8. And then we just solve this. I'm going to get rid of this first. Negative 5 times 4, or negative 4, is a positive 20 equals 8. We subtract 20. we're just solving here. So 4x equals 8 minus 20 in your head or in the calculator is negative 12. And then we divide by 4 and we get x equals negative 3. Good. So answer is B. That's one way to do that. Another way you could do it is put in your answer choices. So for example, like 4, and if x is negative 4.8 minus 5, and I know y is negative 4 equals, put that in the calculator, hit equals. If it equals 8, it's the answer. If it doesn't, it's not. So several different ways to solve that problem. Alright? Alright, now the last little bit is going to be the exponent rules. Now you're going to have your exponent rules on your formula chart for your test, but if, real quick, we're just going to review them. And I kind of review it with this, Pac-Man DS. So in my class we did this. So power to a power, you multiply your exponents, which means if I have like an exponent on top of an exponent, I multiply them. When you're multiplying, you add. When you add, you do nothing. And when you divide, you subtract. Okay? So here it says, which expression best describes the area in square units of a rectangle with a width of 4x cubed y squared and a length of 3x squared y cubed. So area, length times width, right? That means I have to do 4x cubed y squared times 3x squared y cubed. So I'm multiplying. So when you're multiplying, you multiply your big numbers. 4 times 3 is 12. So automatically I can get rid of h and j. And then I add my exponents. You add your exponents. So 3 plus 2 is 5. And 2 plus 3 is 5. That's the correct answer. So G would be what you get. Okay? This next one, which expression is equivalent to all of this business? So I just got to simplify this. So I'm going to multiply this top part first, and then I'll divide. So remember, when I multiply, I add my exponents. So 8 times 2 is 16. And then we add 3 plus 5 is 8 over 4x to the 6th. Then we're dividing, we subtract, but we divide the big numbers. We divide the big numbers. So 16 divided by 4 is 4, which means I can cross off C and D. And then we subtract. 8 minus 6 is 2, 4x squared. So B is the correct answer. All right. And then the very last one, the area, this one's a little different. It says the area of a rectangle is 144 j to the 9th k 15. That's the area. The width of the rectangle is this. What is the rectangle's length? So you can set this up two different ways. How I would set it up is something times 8 j to the 4th k to the 5th equals 144 j to the 9th k to the 15th, right? There's something here. So to solve for this, I have to get rid of this. Well, the opposite of multiplying by all this is we divide by all that. 8 j to the 4th k to the 5th. Some of y'all could just write this from the word problem, but some of y'all that's a little trickier to understand. So whatever this is equals, I'm dividing. So I divide my big numbers and I subtract my exponents. So you do 144 divided by 8 and you get 18. So automatically, cross off, cross off, cross off. This is my answer. But just to show you, 9 divided by, when you divide you subtract. So 9 minus 4 is 5. 15 minus 5 is 10. Which is the same thing that J gives us. Okay? So simplifying, solving, and then you also have those exponent rules. That counts as simplifying as well. If you have any questions, let me know. If not, that's it.